I am excited. It is Thursday, everybody. It is me, Remy the Comic Book Poser. Welcome to Shop Talk. Supposed to say a couple other things that I just forgot because I am super excited to talk with our special guest this evening, and I'll bring him and the rest of the panel on in a second. You know, the generic kind of couple of things that we got to knock out at the beginning. Hey, last, we got Pop-Tart Timmy, we got Dave, and we got Big Will in the house so far. Here in a few minutes, the Stream Elements bot will start spamming the link to, Tuesday's pull list video. If you have not yet commented on Tuesday's pull list video, you've got until 10:15, 10:30, so you've got, or my time, so 30, 45 minutes to get in there to comment. People have been enjoying, farts are funny, because that's the only thing I can think of. But this is the pile of books you will be entered to get in terms of this week's releases. They are all number ones but one, and they are all variants. And I've read all of them but one so far. So you get this dope variant cover for The Punisher. You get the Jubilee Women of Marvel. You get ASM 92 with how the Doc Connors ends up with wings is a dope reveal. And Jelly, if you still haven't read this yet, we can't be friends anymore. The new AWA book this week, Hit Me #1 from Krista Faust. Oh man, we've hit a new record. 4 minutes till we got a Russian bot. Hell yeah. And then Little Monsters #1 from Image. It's Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wynn doing their thing. So that is your poser pile for the week. Like I said, all you have to do is comment on the pull list video, and you'll be entered from the comment generator. The other two things that I will highlight, once we get up and running, I will start another Discord giveaway and our Super Chat giveaway for the evening. I'm going to do two versions of the same thing. One of them is $3.99. One of them you need to make it rain, the Super Chat dollars. Both prizes tonight are going to be a Mad Cave Studios themed mystery box that you all know that I buy every single Mad Cave Studios title that comes out. I have now almost everything in singles and in trade. The other thing that I'll get set up is Mad Cave Studios has their spring cleaning sale going on now, where you buy a trade, and then I think the code is Spring22, and you get some single issues for free. So I'm going to do something like that. If the Super Chat builds up to a point where I am comfortable to give it away, then to celebrate tonight's guest, we will give away a second print Nottingham #1 in a 9.8. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because both of my first prints and my 616 exclusive are coming back. So I'll be sad to let it go. But I hope it goes to a good home. So they'll both be Mad Cave Studios themed mystery boxes. If the Super Chat goes up a decent amount, then I will throw that slab in. But that's that. I'll go ahead and bring in the other two members of the panel, and then we will give our special guest a glorious entrance for this evening. We got Jelly. Where you come to us live from tonight?
Live from the forests of Nottingham, possibly Sherwood Forest.
You see any hoods running around?
Nah, they're scared of me.
Ooh.
They won't rob this guy.
I'm gonna guess that David and Shane can fix that. We got the Okie to my south. Have you all gotten snow like me, or is it stayed north
yet.
of you?
It hasn't hit yet. It's supposed to come after midnight tonight.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then like we all thought the kids were getting a snow day tomorrow, And apparently it's parent-teacher conference day, and they just shut the schools down anyways and said, we're just going to do that instead.
Nice. We had a double snow day leading into our spring break, so Emily's excited that as the kids go all wackadoodle tomorrow, that she gets to get on a plane and go to Chicago for their bridal market.
Oh, that's right.
I need to, switch
nice
backgrounds.
Really
I like it.
Punch out.
We're not
Mike
punching
Tyson's
out.
punch out. That's awesome.
I gotta find what I did to the interview intro. It disappeared on me when I reorganized everything.
Hey, before you go any further, can you
Yeah.
drop number 7 into the drive?
Oh,
I need more.
I'll see. Then I will bring David in, and we'll go ahead and get started. So, I am very excited to have David Hazan back with us on the show. That it is been almost a year since we last spoke in public, that I interviewed him shortly before Nottingham #1 came out, and I'll make sure to share the link to that, because if you don't know, Nottingham #1 was David's first major comic release. That he and Shane Connery-Volk, the artist, were both Mad Cave Studios Talent Search winners. They got paired together, and you should just watch how kind of like pensive David is, where he's like, yeah, I hope the book will do good. I think it will do well. And #1 went to 4 or 5 printings. I have a picture of the tweet that David sent me to pull up, but when a #1 and a 9.8 made its way onto eBay and he saw it and he was like, my book is worth how much? And I said, so for a man who's given us the world's most poetic stabbings, you know that it is time to talk about the second arc of Nottingham, because holy crap, it is wild. You're about to get 3 issues in a really fast time frame between issues number 6 coming out in April, and then on Free Comic Book Day, you get a totally different story that we're going to talk about, because it's not Nottingham, but it's Nottingham, and it's dope. And then you get #7 the week after that. So you're about to get a whole bunch of Nottingham up in your face. So you're going to hear us try and not, go full Buzz Lightyear and Woody tonight, that we will try to not spoil everything that's happening, but it's good. So I feel like we have gilded the lily enough. We will bring in our time traveler from the future, because he is celebrating his Friday afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only David Hazan.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
Welcome.
There's just so many beards on the screen. I love it.
Yeah, there you go. Where's everybody who last week was taking screenshots of me with no shirt on Popping Around the World? Everybody just needs to DM me screenshots of the beard takeover on tonight's Shop Talk. And we'll go ahead and go. I don't think Sassy's in here yet, but we'll go ahead and let J1 go to his commercial sponsor.
You're the man. For all you men out there that have the beards and need to know how to take care of them, may I suggest beard butter. It has Grotein, made for men with that luscious taint of beard. You just rub it in.
Did you say Grotein?
Grotein, sir. It's like
that's a new
protein,
one.
but with a G. Not only does it smell amazing, the women love
But
it.
it tastes amazing too.
And on your off days, because should only use that every other day. On your off days, I suggest using Alpha Male beard.
Oh man, I bought Beta Male.
See, that's why.
Oh,
That's
my
what
beard looks like
went
crap.
wrong. So, for all you beard men out there, and even mustache men, you got to take good care.
There you go.
Did
We have all
Did I
kinds of...
accidentally segue you? Just like completely accidentally segue you into that?
Oh, don't act like we didn't set that up.
Yeah. All right. So, before we talk about the first arc and teach these devils about the storyline that they need to get caught up on before they get number 6 here in just under a month. Like I said when bringing you on, you were a little timid, a little pensive about how successful you thought the book would be, which is understandable since it was your first major release. So, how badass of a swagger do you walk with now? Like, you just...
I feel like conceptually, you're completely misunderstanding how writers feel about their work in general. Because that timid thing, it never goes away.
Really?
Yeah.
It's good.
With as amazing of a
Ask
story as you
anyone.
wrote, I would be walking around like I got King Kong Dong, okay?
Yeah.
It's that good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And today is officially 1 year since Nottingham 1 came out, so it's pretty cool. It's a weird coincidental anniversary today.
Yeah. Happy anniversary. Cheers. Clink, clink, clink,
Yeah.
clink, clink, clink.
Since the first poetic stabbings.
Yeah. So, for the uninitiated, I'll go ahead and make you big real... Whoops. I'll kick you out. We're done. Interview over.
Thanks. Later.
The
You
book
wanna
sells
give-
itself anyway. It's fine.
Yeah.
There we go. I did it.
Give everybody enough information that they need to understand the first arc before we talk about the new stuff.
All right. So the premise of Nottingham is that we took the Sheriff of Nottingham and made him the main character of the story and sort of twisted it into a police procedural. And the first arc basically has our sheriff chasing down a serial killer. And when that serial killer who is murdering tax collectors himself is murdered by his fellow merry men, a mystery unfolds, which leads the sheriff to Marion, who, under Robin's thumb, becomes a sort of tool for the merry men, and she covers up a lot of things, and in the course of the investigation, there's a lot of subplots that I put in there, didn't I? Whew.
Yeah.
It's like I can pitch the book, but like explaining the plot of the first arc is it's a bit wild. So Marion is not who you might think, and in the end, she gets caught for trying to cover for the merry men, and in doing so, she bribes our sheriff's best friend, Alan Dale, who also ends up dead, unfortunately. He commits suicide in order to protect his family. So basically, the sheriff's life has been turned upside down, but at the end of the first arc, we find out that the mysterious killer known only as Hood is in fact, as the reader would suspect, Robin of Locksley. So we're in a place where everybody knows who Robin Hood is. He's been outlawed, as have the merry men. Marion is under house arrest because the people in charge of Nottingham suspect she might have more to reveal about the merry men. And so she is stuck under house arrest and is maybe pretending to be more injured than she actually is following the confrontations at the end of our first arc.
Yeah, and for those of you who didn't read it, it's very much the traditional bones of Robin Hood, right? Like, Hood is still stealing from the rich to give to the poor. They still have allegiance to Richard the Lionheart. Like, all of those traditional nods are just in there. It's just, instead of the G-rated Disney film or, the Kevin Costner one that we got, right, we get, like, rated R heat. The other phrase that you will hear us use a lot is something that David beautifully christened during our first interview, poetic stabbings.
I feel like that was you, and I just co-opted it, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll have to go back and watch.
I'll take the credit, but let you have it. So, what about Robin Hood made you go, this is the perfect vehicle for the kind of, like, crime story, like murder mystery, like, what made you go, I want to make it super, super bloody?
Well, Mad Cave asked me for a noir, and I figured that I didn't want to do anything in a conventional setting, and the market is so saturated with mid-century noir, like traditional cyberpunk, sci-fi noirs, like everything in between. But there's not a whole lot of like that stuff in the medieval space, and so I kind of found a niche with Robin Hood, which, as soon as you make the sheriff the protagonist, completely and totally makes sense as a noir. And it's kind of like the most comics thing to do is to just flip these things on their heads and tell a story from a different perspective in order to completely refresh a myth. Like, it's been done so many times in comics, and I thought, why not take that approach to Robin Hood itself?
No, I'll definitely take it. And you saw that the market gobbled it up. That in looking at the press releases, was it? Let's see. It would have been right before issue number 2 came out. Was when Mad Cave released that both number 1 had gone to a second printing, which we had known, and that number 2 in the pre-order already sold out, and they had to go to a second printing. So you will talk about the humble writer being timid and unsure, but what kind of, like, rush or validation did you feel in that moment that, your version of a classic tale sold out real quick, fast, and in a hurry?
Well, it was incredibly validating. I think part of me was thankful of the distraction of, like, I was moving into state at the time, and like I was also deep in the tank on, like, trying to figure out volume 2, because as soon as volume 1 sold out, Mad Cave came to me and they were like, as soon as number 1 sold out, they were like, do you want to do another one? I was like, hell yeah, I want to do another one.
Well, thank you for doing it.
Yeah.
It's good.
Thanks, Shane. It's mostly Shane. I just put little squiggles on the paper. He makes them into people.
Fair.
Yeah, but it's incredibly validating. Like, people taking a chance on you, so many people taking a chance on you with their hard-earned money is incredibly validating. And there are some things coming up that I am very close to talking about, other than what we're going to talk about today, that I think will make a lot of those people really happy. So I'm very excited for a lot of the announcements that I can't yet talk about today. But suffice it to say that Mad Cave, all of the Nottingham fans, Mad Cave sees you and loves you, and so do I. And they're working hard to make sure that they can put some things in your hands that you will love and cherish forever. Although, those emotions are a danger in the world of Nottingham. In our world, they are beautiful and we love them.
So is that partially a low-key way of saying that maybe some more of your announcements are something through Mad Cave?
Yes, there's stuff coming through Mad Cave. Specifically, I'm talking about there are probably 2 more Nottingham announcements to come this year, and fingers crossed, maybe more. But I know for sure there are 2 more really cool Nottingham announcements coming this year. Some of the stuff will come out next year, but the announcements will be this year.
Nice.
So
I'm
being as
yeah.
honest as
I'm
I
just
can
gonna
be.
go snag as much Nottingham as I can get right now.
So I know in looking at other Mad Cave books, like the last class before Nottingham, or the last class of talent search winners had good luck where just about all of the issue number 1 sold out and went to a second printing. I know that Mark's books, his number 1s had gone to a second printing, but I think you're the only one that has gone to a third printing or beyond on more than 1 book. So is there a little bit of competition now between you and somebody who's higher up on the food chain? Is he now going to push to try and break the Nottingham record?
I mean, you'd have to ask Mark that. I really couldn't tell you. You'd absolutely have to ask Mark that.
I would just walk in and throw a
I'm going to
force
keep
print on the
trying to
table.
maintain the lead. You know, that's. I'm in the privileged position here, and you know it's his move. So
I'm gonna clip this little bit out and just tweet it at Mark, and be like, "Your move, sir."
Yeah, balls in your court.
Well, all right. So I'm gonna pull up some stuff to share from issue number 6, which comes out in 2 weeks. Correct?
Issue 6 comes out April 6th. So
just under a month then.
Just under a month.
All right, let's see how slowly this pops up. So if you have not seen the cover for issue number 6, it is absolutely stunning. That I think Shane has done a brilliant job, not just incorporating the sheriff as the driving force from the first cover, but just elements of the language, the chats, the things that we see pop up in that issue, I think is pretty cool. And I noticed after the fact, in looking at issue number 7, that 6 and 7 are connecting covers. And then you want to share with everybody what you shared with us in the background?
Sure. I mean, me and Shane have been sort of bandying this about on Twitter anyway, but so all of the covers of Volume 2 connect into one big thing, and Shane's referenced these like Norman tapestries, which just phenomenal. And then Luca's come in with this weird neon thing. It's just, you know, it's stunning work, and it's all, you know, Shane and Luca just, you know, firing on all
like
cylinders.
medieval
really.
graffiti.
Yeah. So before I flip to the next page, what does Volume 2 conceptually have in store for our characters?
The other thing on the covers before I jump to that, is that the cover A is in color, and then the cover B is a black and white version. So I think this whole cover series was actually conceptualized as black and white, and then Mad Cave jumped in and sort of were like, what if we did both? And so we're doing both. So the cover B is the same cover, but just without all the color.
That's
it's
awesome.
Just black and white. Yeah.
Then I will be adding cover B to my pull list.
That just doubled the pull.
Yeah. But that's in a good way, because everybody else, like, when you see connecting covers, like, it's the D variant or the F variant that stores only get so many of, or they're a ratio. So to do that with a cover A, I think is pretty amazing, especially for people who want to display their comics, right? That sometimes with connecting things it is a challenge, but I, very much want to see this tapestry feel play its way out. And I'll see if I can pull up the cover for 7 in a second, but ooh, a black and white version of that. I'm now going to see if I can find the image, because that's dope.
It's on previews.
Okay.
But as for the conceit of Volume 2, so Volume 1 takes place for the most part in 1192. We've now pushed forward to 1193. And the big event in terms of, I guess, the geopolitics of that time was that Richard the Lionheart was kidnapped and ransomed for an amount which was effectively more than the GDP of the entire nation in a single year. Yeah. This was, for a number of political reasons, he was kidnapped by the Holy Roman Emperor, who was effectively the king of Germany, Italy, and several other European states at the time. And so several of our power players, for instance, Prince John and his ally Philip of France, super disinterested in Richard being free. And Richard's mother, and also John's mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, basically comes in and slaps him across the face and says, no, you do this thing. And you give them the money and you get your brother back. And so he wants to keep up appearances. And in doing so, he ends up charging our sheriff with ferrying the ransom and bringing the king back alive on pain of death. But what our sheriff doesn't know but quickly finds out is all of this is being completely undercut by both Prince John and King Philip of France, who are effectively intent on sabotaging the entire mission to deliver the ransom and bring the king home.
I gotta think of how I want to ask this question without spoiling the end. And I don't know if I can.
Well, I should probably add, while you're thinking, that while our sheriff is away doing that, he finds an unlikely ally. And also, while the attention of most of these power players is elsewhere, Marion makes a play of her own at home. So there are a lot of things going on once again, a lot of subplots.
Yeah. And the ones I've read, Marion's back to her old ways.
Yeah. She's definitely to me, I think she's made a decision that the people that she was trying to use to get to the top were really not serving her. Yeah. And so she's trying to find other ways to make that happen. And she makes some really big plays, and they're going to have some really big consequences going forward.
Well, and I think you kind of explained, you could see what I was struggling with wanting to ask, that what made you want to kind of create a broader chess match that everybody's playing, that we know that, Marion has been conniving and kind of wanting to make her own play, that's very well established in the first arc. Is it the addition of just a broader geopolitical conflict at the time that makes it easier to think about how all of the players would really react based on why the sheriff is motivated to act a certain way, why the prince is, why the hood is. That does that conflict and that kidnapping basically give you the thought experiment to go, well, how would they have played this out if these were the characters at the time?
Yeah, and I think my approach to this has always been to ask the question, what would the effect of these clashing, not only these clashing political forces, but also the clashing forces of propaganda. What effect would they have on the people themselves? And to always bring it back to the people. So even though we're broadening the scope hugely, in that the bulk of the action in this volume takes place somewhere other than England, let alone other than Nottingham. The drive is and will always be the characters, and you know what? You'll see if we get to do more that I'm going to bring all that right back down again. So the idea is the first volume was supposed to be really intimate. The second one was supposed to be broader, but maintaining our intimacy with those viewpoint characters. And I'm going to reduce it right back down, and hopefully, if I can, and if we get to do more, the third volume will be even more condensed. And my intentions almost it's to make it take place entirely in Nottingham.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an expansion of the world while maintaining the the depth of character, I think, and seeing the things that happen play out on a broader scale and not just in Nottingham.
No, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm going to show everybody now that I pulled it up. There's the B cover, the black and white that again has that really cool tapestry feel that I like them both equally. I like
I think I like the color more, but the black and white is amazing as well.
Yeah, I was going to say the black and white is so clean, and I can see why you guys went with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really can. But at the same time, I look at the color, and I'm like, ooh, the coloring. And I like the way they colored the graffiti and everything else. That just, anyway, sorry.
Well, and here's the other thing.
You can fangirl. We don't mind.
I gush.
Here's the other thing that I'll show really fast. That if you didn't notice it in David's background, David has a quite beautiful Nottingham poster in the background, and
ooh, that's a good poster.
I was lucky enough to win a We Fell from the Sky poster that Mad Cave did before that book came out. But I think I might have found what is going to replace it in the frame. That I just saw this when I was pulling up the B cover from Mad Cave's website. This poster is absolutely insane. That you talk about the propaganda force, the ever haunting notion of we are the cure. That I think that is amazing.
Oh, I might have to pick that up, and that might be on its way to Australia to get signed.
Yeah, at the end of this, we're all going to collectively ship you a short box and be like, David, will you sign all these things? But this one doesn't even say Nottingham.
It would be the theme of the week.
But I like that, and I really like issue number 6 has a good intense feeling, almost like it's in the middle of an arc. And the moment I finished reading issue number 6, I immediately DM'd David on Twitter, and I was like, what the hell are you trying to do to me? That just, it is high octane. And then issue number 7 finds a way to just make the rest of the previous 6 issues look like kids having a pillow fight. So, before we talk about the Free Comic Book Day issue, what issue will actually give me a heart attack so I can plan and write my sub-plans now?
Update my will.
9 is probably going to give you a huge heart attack.
Okay.
But the payoff of that heart attack will be 10. So just make sure you survive, you know?
Okay.
At least to see, or just, make sure you read them all at once. So that, while the chest pain starts to set in, you can
just take it to a crescendo.
Finish volume 2.
I like that.
Like you would have the self-control to wait a month.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, the moment that I got issue number 7 emailed to me from Frank, you can look at my review of issue number 7 where I screenshotted the email back to Frank at Mad Cave and was like, I stopped teaching my class. I was like, okay, you all have 10 minutes to do whatever you need. Daddy's got to take his medicine. And then I immediately screamed at David again on Twitter, like, oh, what? Heart enlarging. So is 10 going to be the end of the second arc then?
Yeah. So it's another 5 issues.
In an ideal world of how you've gotten everything conceptualized, how many arcs do you have planned out if Mad Cave kept going, yes, 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 yes?
4.
Okay.
That's not enough.
I think there is a complete story to tell here. I don't feel like I don't, as a writer, I'm not attracted to the idea of an ongoing that much.
That makes sense.
I wouldn't say no, but with my own stuff, I want to tell a complete story, and I find it very difficult to think in those really super open-ended terms. So I think previously I had thought 5, but when I approached doing this second volume, I kind of was like, I need to, if this is, the only other Nottingham thing that I get to do, I need to push the story forward a bit more. So I guess I leapt us straight into our what was going to initially be the volume 3 plot.
Okay.
Of my initial conception of this whole thing. But yeah, I think 4, if we get the chance to do it, 3 would also probably tell a pretty complete story, but 4 would really add the little grace notes at the end of it.
It'd be the little chef's kiss.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. The other thing that I was very excited to see was when Mad Cave announced that their free comic book title, or free comic book day title, because articulation is hard, was going to be Nottingham. So I know free comic book day titles can go one of two different ways. That, Marvel will always put out a Spider-Man and Venom book to give you a little 8-page story to then just give you ads for whatever their 30 events are for the fall. Indie publishers will pick a story here or there to kind of give a little offshoot, or sometimes it's a preview like that. When I saw the Free Comic Book Day title, I was like, okay, it's going to be the preview of the second Nottingham arc. So how much freedom did you get in selecting the story you wanted to tell in the Free Comic Book Day issue? Or was Mad Cave like, here's the approach we want on this book?
I think they came to me and asked me for some ideas in a very short span of time, which had me incredibly frightened but also incredibly excited. And I came back to them with a bunch of different ideas, and I think one of those ideas, which is what we ended up going with, was one that was set between volumes 1 and 2. And I think after I had thought about it, it became the one that I really wanted to do anyway. So it all kind of just worked. And this is the thing with Mad Cave, is once you settle on something, it just kind of works.
Yeah.
They go out of their way to make sure the process is really easy and for the creators, which, God, it really helps. And I think also, like, the reason they thought that was a good idea was because initially Volume 2 was not supposed to start until November.
Mm-hmm.
And because of some scheduling stuff, they basically came to us and were like, we need you to start in April. And I was like, that's fine. And Shannon Luca was like,
That's a lot of art.
Yeah.
But you know what? I don't know if I should be telling you this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. We are 2 pages away from the inks being completed on Volume 2, so the timing has worked.
Yeah.
It's
That's
definitely
awesome.
a tighter time frame than Mad Cave usually gives us, but it's been a blast.
Nice.
And
I'm
I'm really excited for people to see this Free Comic Book Day issue because it's tonally a little different, but I tried to distill the elements of Nottingham that I love into this story. Like it's a detective story. It's really kind of depressing, and it makes you feel things. And there's a lot of blood, and that's. I just wanted to get all of those things into a neat package. But it's not as throwaway of a story as one would expect for a Free Comic Book Day.
Yeah.
It really does reward people who have read Volume 1. And it certainly gives you some context going into Volume 2 as to what the sheriff's mindset is going into Volume 2. So It's not a throwaway story. It does matter and it does have consequences. It's also free, so go get it.
Yeah.
I'm really trying hard to sell this book that comes for the low price of nothing.
I'm saying thank you very quickly to everybody who is thrown in for the super chat tonight. That you're getting a lot of love and thank yous for being here, and everybody who I haven't waved at or said hi to in the chat so far. I appreciate it. And where was Cult of Pop's comment? Cult of Pop, if you missed the premise of this series, it is Robin Hood plus poetic stabbings. And I knew from the moment that I read issue number 1 last year that I was like, I have not connected to a story, even the things that I am, nostalgic with, like my X-Men, that I did with just how different Nottingham was. And if you're not on our Discord, Cult of Pop, you can join the Discord and enter the free giveaway there. That in the Mad Cave Mystery Box, there will be some Nottingham that I have a couple of copies of the trade that will probably make its way into each box. And based off of everybody who's thrown some love into the stream tonight for the super chat, this slab of number 1, the second print, will go to a new home this evening as well. So I wanted to not cover up David while we were highlighting the chat, but thank you, everybody. Tate, I will post the link on in the stream here in a second, but there is an Instagram filter where you can take your picture in the mask that I discovered last time, and it's very interesting with beards because the last time was when I had the longer, more homelessy beard, and just depending on when the picture was taken was whether or not like you saw bits of hair sticking out of the mask. And, you know, I bet I would have gotten my head cut off if I did that. So I'll now bring back up the images from the Free Comic Book Day issue because you are right. It is decidedly different in terms of the tone, that it's action-packed like the other issues are, but in a more subtle, less heart attacky kind of way. So was it interesting to kind of flex a different stylistic set of muscles based off of like the treatment of the characters in this environment versus the high octane pace that the second arc starts with?
Yeah. Look, I think part of that is that I wanted to tell a full story in one, in one issue, and that requires a different kind of pacing because you obviously can't necessarily rely on having been able to set up things previously or other than the story of the first arc. So I kind of figured that this might need to be a slower story. And Mad Cave, thankfully, gave me a couple extra pages in order to help round out the story. So I'm very grateful that we give you a full one and done in 22 pages that will reward readers who've read the first arc and also hopefully introduce it to people who haven't. And by the way, if you haven't read the first arc and you want to give it a try, Mad Cave puts all their number ones, I think, for free digitally on their website. So
I'll drop the link for that in a second. That's something that I'll go back and add to the description too.
And beyond that, also because Volume 2 was pushed up, we needed somebody to draw this thing, and Shane was just obviously not available because he was drawing Volume 2. So I get an email from the lovely Chris Fernandez saying, "You got anyone in mind?" And then he was sending a follow-up email saying, "I was thinking Andrea Moody," at the same time that I sent him an email saying, "I was thinking Andrea Moody," and at the same time we sent those emails, and we managed to convince Andrea to come on board, and the results are pretty awesome.
What was it like working with a different artist for the Free Comic Book Day issue, regardless of how insanely talented Andrea is? What was it like in terms of conveying your vision versus giving him the freedom to add his own touches to it? How was the process feeling a little bit different since you had a new piece of the team?
Ooh, I just finished 7. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want more.
Look, that went more smoothly than I could possibly imagine. There were almost no corrections on any pages that were brought back from Andrea. And the man is so fast, like just so incredibly fast. I'm like, you don't get to be both that talented and that fast. I just refuse to believe that. But it was something like 2 weeks, and he had the whole issue penciled plus the cover completely done. I was like, you're insane.
God damn.
You're just like an absolute machine.
And if y'all in the chat aren't familiar with Andrea offhand, he's currently doing Bunny Mask. Or just did Bunny Mask. He's currently doing the second arc of Maniac of New York.
Yeah.
But then he also has a very, very deep portfolio that he's done DC work. He's done Marvel work. I think he did some interior art on Spawn for a couple of issues. That
the best Andrea, as far as I'm concerned, is a Top Cow book called Infinite Dark. It's Andrea on the line art, K. Michael Russell on the colors, and it's written by Ryan Cady, and it's peak Andrea.
I'm going to have to check that out, because I know when we were talking backstage that I was like, I would fanboy out in that moment. And you were like, I am a huge fan of his work too. And to know that you and Chris are that in tune is insane. That you were both like, Andrea Moody? And then he was like, yeah, I'll bang this out. That's absolutely bonkers. And here's some of the interior work. So what made you want to set this issue on Christmas Eve, and then what made you want to use Silent Night as kind of the rhetorical through line that is sung throughout the book?
Well, there's a really stupid answer to this question, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. It's that a couple of months before this whole Free Comic Book Day thing came on my slate, Shane drew the sheriff in the snow. He drew a pinup of the sheriff trudging through the snow. I was like, I sent him a message being like, man, this is so cool. He was like, yeah, let's do a story of the sheriff in the snow. And I was like, perfect opportunity. Sheriff in the Snow. Christmas takes place smack in between volumes 1 and 2. Let's make it a Christmas story. And it all kind of snowballed from there into what you see. And then the sad thing was that even though I wrote this thing for Shane couldn't do it.
But I definitely think it works, and I like the little bit more grittiness that we get in the way that he draws the hood masks. Yeah, Tate, I will definitely shoot my LCS owner to get an extra one for you. That I hate people too, but I will wear my hazmat suit to deal with people to get my Free Comic Book Day books. Mm-hmm. But I like the extra bit of the edge, and I like how we get to see kind of how the hood plans a hit job. That, it's a robbery gone wrong a little bit with some whodunit. That it's a different feel of crime drama. And like I said at the beginning, I really felt like it, even though the pace is different, the level of excitement is there, the drama is there, that I got lost in the world. And it wasn't until I was pulling pictures to share in the stream that I was like, I knew the art was different, but holy shit, that's Andrea. That made me go, it's good. So
I'll tell you what I felt from this. It was kind of like when your favorite TV show does like a murder mystery dinner episode. That's kind of what it felt like, but it worked, but it still was in continuity of the show.
I like that illusion. Yeah,
I loved it.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure it felt very sort of as noir as it possibly could, and so like the robbery gone wrong is just worked perfectly for the take that I was going for, and it kind of I wanted to make sure that there was something to grab onto if you'd read the first volume, so I entangled it with with a certain character that we've seen previously, and it just really, I feel like it really highlights the effect of all of this political nonsense on the common people, and it really puts the common people front and center in this volume, because volume 2 doesn't have as much of a focus on the common people, really, because it's so focused on the political struggles, even though that it's character driven. A lot of, apart from the sheriff, a lot of the sort of main players are the nobility, including Robin, I guess, as an ex-nobleman.
Do you have other little one-shots that you could sprinkle in if you needed to, like, instead of the book getting pushed up 6 months, like if they were like, we got to push it back because schedules are hectic, but we, like, if they were like, we want you to do the next Free Comic Book Day issue, do you have another kind of one-off that could be that same kind of either appetizer or palate cleanser from giving me a heart attack in issue number 6?
How do I answer this question?
A couple of crumbs to drop along the way to the next arc.
I had a bunch of them, and now I don't. And that's, I will take no further questions on that.
Oh.
God damn it.
So I'm going to ask a question and just lean in and look at your reaction. I'll test your poker face.
People have done this before. It's been a thing. It happened on a Mad Cave stream. I said nothing.
No, I'm going to watch your nonverbals.
That's right.
So I'll give you a minute to put your lie detector mode on.
It's to turn his camera.
So I really enjoyed...
I'm just going to leave now.
Thanks for having me. I'll
gotta go.
I really enjoyed Battle Cat's Tales of Valeria, that kind of 4-issue series that they did before the final arc of Battle Cats came out. And you said there could be a couple of Nottingham related announcements. So could there potentially be a Tales of Nottingham style story?
Next question.
So I know that you're not going to have a definitive answer to this, because I know that you've got other stuff that's to be announced. But what kinds of doors did the success of Nottingham Volume 1 open for you that you either hoped for, or either some people who came knocking, or opportunities that came knocking that you didn't expect?
Absolutely a bunch more than I anticipated, even when we did well. I think you, as a writer, you're not conditioned to do anything other than hustle for those opportunities. And, you've seen it from me, you've seen it from other Mad Cave creators, certainly. Hell, Jared Lujan just got announced as one of the Milestone Initiative talent program, I guess, participants, which is awesome. That dude deserves everything. And you're just conditioned to kind of hustle for things. Even when people do reach out to you, it sometimes involves a lot of hustling, because you may have proved yourself, but you haven't proved yourself to them. But it's really the opportunities that I've been given from this really gratifying, and I said it today on Twitter. I'm super lucky to keep getting to make comics and keep having people wanting me to make comics. So I'll keep doing it as long as people let me do it.
Nice.
Even if someone starts shouting, please stop. I'll keep making comics.
Then we will get the David Hazan webtoons. You can't silence me.
It'll be completely ridiculous and autobiographical, and I'll subject everybody to it.
I'll read it. I'll write a reaction post to it on the blog.
So
But,
after that display of humbleness, I'm going to have to fanboy out a little bit. So we've been seeing a lot of 5-issue kind of miniseries, especially like AWA, all those that I think personally I have felt like let down with at the end, that the story hasn't really resolved itself well. But Nottingham, I feel like we're getting well-rounded stories in 5 issues, like good character development, and it resolves in a satisfying way. So, I guess, how do I turn this into a question? It was more of just a statement of how good it was.
How does it feel to
Thank
be
you.
more awesome than anybody else who's cramping out 5 issues at a time?
Yeah.
I mean, it takes them 3 to 4 issues to establish the characters, and then they're trying to wrap up a complex story in one issue. Where it
I'm in a
seems
privileged
like
position, though, I gotta say, with the fact that, A, I'm working with characters that people know.
Yes,
And
exactly.
that was going
that
to be a
certainly
question.
helps.
Yeah, I was going to ask because we've had this like Othello has been told millions of times in million different ways. We really haven't had that with like Robin Hood and like Nottingham. So, but yeah, you do. I guess you do have the background that's kind of already been established for the characters, but you take them in a whole different way.
Yeah.
And thank you. And I think the other thing is also that with a noir, you also get to have endings that make people feel a little kind of unrequited and a little bit kind of uncomfortable at the end.
Yeah.
So you don't have to tie off every single thread. I mean, I feel like I did a decent job.
I think you did a really good
plot
job.
threads,
It
Yeah.
actually felt
100%.
very satisfying.
Yeah, making people feel a little uncomfortable at the end is kind of part of the course with the genre, which is great for me because I don't have to do the full tie up right off into the sunset kind of ending. But also I love making people feel uncomfortable. Clearly.
There you go. I expect a Kickstarter project at some point in the future that's just called, like, Fuck You, You Will Die. Like, instead of the last book you ever read where people become zombie-esque sex beasts that are happening, like, you will write the book that will kill somebody in one sitting. Like, I told you, you bought the I Will Kill You book, and mission accomplished.
Yes. The
Trying
murder
to think-
book.
Yeah. Is it anything else you want to talk about that we didn't ask or pester you about?
No, because I'll get myself into trouble.
That's okay.
Inevitably get myself into trouble. But there's more stuff at Mad Cave. Working on a thing with Aftershock, a thing with Scout at some point. All of which I'm very excited about. Also excited to round out the writing of those projects so I can start the next phase of hunting for new stuff as one does. It's just like stress trying to finish all the projects that you have and then stress trying to find more because my brain doesn't deal well with doing both of those things at the same time.
Fair. I guess I can go with since you've hinted at the other indie publishers that I also am in love with, in terms of where things may be. We'll go. I can't remember if I asked you this in the first interview or not, but if you were ever to be courted by one of the big two, and they gave you a preference for a character to write, who would you really like to take a crack at in terms of, again, playing in another sandbox of somebody with their own established canon and backgrounds with Marvel or DC?
DC, it's absolutely 100% Batwoman.
I did not expect that.
Yeah. Kind of.
with Marvel, I want to write Obi-Wan Kenobi. I want someone to give me money to write Obi-Wan Kenobi. Just that's what I want.
Oh,
And
I would pay money to read you writing Obi-Wan Kenobi. That would be awesome.
There you go. So the two
Yeah.
things that I will cut from tonight, 3, because then I will analyze your non-answer like the Zapruder film. That the Mark London challenge, and please Marvel, let me write Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I feel like though I said those in order of priority. I think I'll say this. Batwoman Elegy, which is the 5 or 6 odd issues that Greg Rucka did with J.H. Williams, is kind of what made me fall in love with comics.
Okay.
And I feel like nobody's really been able to kind of recapture that. And I've read pretty much everything there is Batwoman wise, and that feeling for me. So like they're doing different things with the character, but nobody has been able to recapture that specific feeling for me for that character, who is absolutely awesome and queer and sassy and Jewish and a fucking superhero, and I am at least.
Uh-oh.
No.
We lost David.
Did you just kick him out?
No, I didn't do it this time. That he disappeared from the bottom.
All right. I think that was on purpose.
Back. That was not on purpose.
I think it was on purpose. I love making people feel uncomfortable. You said it yourself.
Queer, sassy, and Jewish, and I'm out.
I'd probably do a decent job at Moon Knight too, but just give me all the Jews. I just want to write all the Jewish characters. Just all of them. Like throwing pictures out into the universe. Just like let me write a DC Nazi Hunters book. That'd be fun.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because you got Superman punches the Klan, so there you go, the Justice League Nazi Hunters.
No, the Justice League. That's what I've got.
That's the Aardvark Press version of it. Well, all right. How about we give something away? Let's give away a poser pile, and then, like I said, if you want to talk new books with us, you are more than welcome to do so. But it's also Friday, which is also your new comic book day in Australia, right? That most stuff comes in on Fridays.
Usually Thursdays, depending on where you are. But yeah, I haven't really been doing much reading at the moment. But I'll stay in chat for a little bit because
okay. All right,
because I'm a fan of the show, so I'll stay.
Well, and I saw that you joined the Discord, so now you know that I'm
did.
gonna create a channel that is just called like the David Hazan Appreciation Zone.
Ooh.
I'll just make you super uncomfortable there.
Yeah, see, compliments do make me
moderator
uncomfortable, but I guess I deserve that for saying that I enjoy making people uncomfortable.
There you go. All right, so the comment picker will select somebody to win the Punisher #1, a variant cover, the Jubilee Women of Marvel cover, Spider-Man #92, the stabbing the shit out of Doc Connors. Hit Me #1, which I'm going to talk about that in a little bit because Priscilla Faust is
with you.
Christina Faust and Priscilla Patrates are just on fire on this one, and then Little Monsters #1, which is Lemire and Wynn, which this is the only one that I haven't read. So there's your link that is dropped one last time as it covers up David's face. So I will refresh this twice and see if the number changes, but we had 15 when I set this up. We're still there, so I'll wait about 10 seconds, and then we'll go. Yeah, Cole is sad that he could not join us, that he's on night shift with their new baby.
ask me what kind of burrito I would eat.
You can answer that question. So Cole is also part of a channel called Comic Burrito.
I'm familiar. I'm familiar.
Were you on Comic Burrito when Nottingham one came out? I couldn't remember.
I've been on a couple of times now. Sometimes if I float around in the comments, people invite me on, and then I'm like, oh no, I have to put a shirt on. But also,
oh, you don't have to
out.
here.
Yeah.
Shirts
have to
optional.
wear pants?
Well, like if we do this again, will YouTube boot us for not wearing shirts? Because
no, last week, me and Big Easy's House of Pops were on somebody else's stream where I just randomly took my shirt off because I had been drinking that much on a Monday night, which is totally normal and healthy. And they were like, let's introduce you to your doppelganger. And he came on, and I was like, oh, hello. All right, so we've got 15. The number stayed the same, so here we go. Here's the winner of this week's Poser Pile. Let's see if we get another two-time winner. Oh!
Wow.
I have been waiting to send Candyman some comics. And every time he comments on literally everything, Candyman is a huge Funko Pop guy, but loves Wolverine. So I am going to blow him up on Instagram and send him some Wolverine as well. But I've been wanting to send him comics for a while, and he's been like, no. And now I have to. So congratulations, Candyman. I'm excited to now get that address and blow you up with comics. All right. So
now the stalking starts.
Yeah. So I don't know how busy the rest of you all were this week, but I found out at like 4:30 yesterday that we were going to have a snow day today. So I tried to read between keeping the kids away from my wife. So who's got something that they want to talk about first?
You want to go into... Oh, what's he? Oh, Venom, yeah. Yeah, Venom's good. You want to do Venom, Jay?
Whenever.
Hold on a second. Let me... Because Venom is surprisingly the bottom of my stack this week. So I'm going to find it. I'm going to take my headphones off.
Oh, you haven't read it yet?
Nope.
Then let's save it for next week.
Nope. I'm going to do what we've done with, like, Jelly speed running through crossover. Like, we've all had to go like, oh, you haven't read this yet? And I go, okay, la 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 la. Yeah. So, I will make J1 big. I'm going to take my headphones out and read some Venom, and then I'll pop back in a second.
Hold on. Right throat if I'm going to be talking. Sure. All right, Venom 6. For everybody's been keeping up with it, you know, this is all after the whole Donny Cates run, the King in Black run, and everything else. This picks up after all that, and so Dylan is now bonded with the symbiote Venom, which his dad was like, "Don't do it, don't do it." Of course, that's what he does. That's what kids do, right? Exactly what their parents say not to. But in this issue, right? So Dylan just escaped. I can't remember the name of the organization, right? But he was in a lab being tested, and they're trying to push the Venom symbiote farther to evolve more, right? That's the whole point of the organization, is to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because they want the Venom symbiote to become more powerful. That way they can, essentially take more from it. And in this episode, or issue, chapter, whatever you want to call it, Dylan basically is living in a biker bar, bussing tables and, bringing up kegs. And at the same time, he's going around the town he's in playing hero, right? It's not so much that he doesn't want to necessarily be like the typical Venom character, which is interesting. Like Venom's primal urges of killing and, eating brains and everything else. Oh, you should be, New World. You should be. But he goes down and he actually raids a biker bar, a biker gang, essentially raids their warehouse, destroys a bunch of their stuff, right? And now they're trying to exact revenge, but they don't know who did it. The one witness is, screaming and begging and pleading as he's being tortured, saying it was one of those. What was the word? Oh my God, the word was so amazing. I loved it.
Oh, it was cinnamon something.
Yeah, hold on. Here it is. It was one of them aliens, the kind that's been all over the news. Cinnamon boats.
Yeah, cinnamon boats. That's it.
Cinnamon boats, and I'm like, oh my God, you can tell. And the guy's like, he means symbiotes. I would. Who would think to put cinnamon boats in place of symbiotes? But anyways,
Wow.
So the leader of that gang is like, look, ain't no aliens. I don't want to hear nothing about any of that stuff. And they decide that they're going to go and they're going to take on the town and try to do everything. Well, the biker bar that he's living in, right? He's gathered all his guys together, the Renegades. That's his old biker gang, but they're all, they're all older men, right? They don't do that stuff. They've lived that life.
They used to run the town until this new gang came in.
Right? They're kind of like,
so they're all kind of retired.
They're like the retirees, the veterans, right?
Yeah.
And at the same time, Dylan's, he's having heart-to-hearts with Venom, with the actual symbiote and everything else. And he said, Venom's like, I don't know if you know this, but you're changing me too.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm not my father. He's like, we're going to do this. We're going to do it my way. We have to find a way to do this without, He's like, my dad regretted it, all the darkness that came with being Venom. He wanted something else for me, something different. It's why he told us not to bond in the first place. But this is where we are now, and I'm figuring out how to be Venom. But I want to do it my way. So now that other gang is sitting there going through the town, burning it all down, roughing everybody up. And he's like, come on, we got to go do something. And the old gang, the old biker gang's like, should we go out there? Should we stop them? And he's like, nope. We just defend our own, and that's it, We're going to defend what we own, this bar. So if they come to that bar, yep, we'll be ready for them. But other than that, they're staying out of it. So Venom goes out, and he's on the run, right? Everybody and their brother is trying to find him. And he gets seen, and they're like, well, he's here.
Yeah.
He's on the news. And,
so it's now an issue of being a symbiote attack. That's how the news is portraying it, because the news is saying, these symbiote attacks are popping all over the world, and it's the media is trying to do what the media does and just kind of overplay things and make it seem like we're being invaded by symbiotes, where it's literally just Venom trying to help, but gets captured there, or I should say seen there, not captured.
Smalls, Biggie, be nice.
I like how I got the answer to the question I never knew I needed to ask of what would Sons of Anarchy, the Venom issue, look
Yeah.
like.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the end of this, there's Bedlam sitting in a bar, trench coat on, hat down, hiding his face, and he sees the news and he's like, oh my goodness, found you. And then so next issue, just from the cover reveal, you hope Bedlam and Venom finally meet, because God, I can't wait to see that. I love symbiotes. I do. I think they're like, if you don't know me, I'm a huge Venom fan. I mean, I have a giant poster that used to be right here.
Yeah, where'd it go? Rest in peace again?
It's right there.
Okay.
The hanger fell. It broke. So I was
yeah,
like,
this issue wasn't as good, I don't think, as the last one.
No, it didn't progress anywhere near as well as the last one. There wasn't as much action. But,
like you said, it was like an episode of Sons of Anarchy.
But I like how it's setting up a different, like, outside conflict, that it's not the same, like the Life Foundation stuff that's been brewing for the first couple of issues. That I like how we're kind of getting citizen angst and response now that they feel like they may be able to fight back after all the King in Black stuff.
Oh yeah,
yeah, it's a little more localized instead of being global.
And I really hate that they're doing the. I hate to say it, the backstabbing freaking bee of the reporter, right? Like, she is playing the straight up blame game and false news and everything to help the Life Foundation track them down. I'm like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I liked it.
Yeah, you know the name of the game. Will we keep reading it? Yes.
Yeah. So I picked up Hit Me #1, which is Krista Faust, who this is her third AWA title that she did. Bad Mother, and she did the Wild West one, Redemption. And Priscilla, the artist on this, was the artist on Chariot. So you look at this and you're like, okay, I see a woman who's kind of bruised holding a card. Does this have something to do with blackjack? And the answer is, I mean,
No.
you see cards in there a little bit.
Yeah, I guess there are cards.
Yeah. But as you go through the first 2 pages, you can see that she is just absolutely covered in bruises. And then as she does that, she's getting ready to head to a sparring session. And the way that she's kind of narrating through the first 2 pages is that she has a pain kink, that it's a BDSM thing, that she is into being punched, that she's got rules for everything from where you hit her to how you hit her, that it's not sexual at all, but she's around to let people just blow off some steam by beating the shit out of her. So what you learn is that she's going to meet with one of her wealthy clients before he has a big meeting, and it takes place in a casino. And as basically they're getting set up for their meeting, you learn about her past with this guy and how he's kind of violated the contract, but she likes the money. And the guy who helps train her with sparring stuff is kind of there for security to watch. And then you see one of her other wealthy patrons show up, and she talks about how he's kind of always nervously fidgeting with cards and everything, but in seeing his body language, something's off.
Yeah.
And basically, this turns into, in the last 9 pages, wrong place, wrong time. but there's also going to be a heist element that I think is going to take this in a radically different direction in the next issue or two. But what really got me into the story at the end is the letter that Krista Faust wrote at the end, in terms of how she knows that this would be challenging for everybody, that, you know, people who are into BDSM, or, you know, not understanding people who choose to go into sex work, right, can be a turnoff for an audience. And in this 2-page letter, she kind of goes off on why she wants to show empowered sex workers, why she wants to show, you know, something as hardcore as, you know, not just your average spanking and whips and leathers, but like full contact ass whooping. And then the other thing, like you see in the final paragraph, that she talks about why Priscilla's the right artist for her. And Priscilla in the first 2 sentences is like, this is the perfect project for us to collaborate on, that I agree with her philosophy and what she's wanting to do in this issue. And I recorded a small video for the Comic Burrito and For Everyone media stream that they did on Saturday night about a sex-positive book, where I talked about Tina Horn's Safe Sex, that did kind of the same thing, where you have a bunch of either people who are into a variety of different kinks, or ex-sex workers who are fighting back against a tyrannical purity state. So I like how, you know, the absurdity of safe sex's premise got me thinking about it in one way, especially when at the end of every book, the creative team would interview a sex worker, for the back matter of this book to very specifically be like, I know I'm turning off a large portion of an audience, but I want to elevate sex workers, and I want to look at BDSM and look at that world and use that as a vehicle for something, I think is a good way of grabbing an audience and kind of exposing that world to them in, you know, the same fashion as some of the different books that we've talked about, right? How Maw used its monster narrative to play with looking at victim culture. And, David just read Nottingham #1, so we've converted a couple of people during the stream. And,
they should be.
Yeah, Biggie,
you're welcome.
We did it just before you came in, but every Tuesday, like clockwork, you can just go in and say Poser Pile or Farts Are Funny. And I would have sent you more Department of Truth books after seeing your reaction to the one that you got. But I enjoyed it. It definitely was not the story I thought it would be, or the end setting up kind of the outside of like the boundaries of sex crime part of it, that I'm definitely hooked to pick up issue #2. That in terms of Faust's AWA books, I loved Bad Mother because I wanted to see Soccer Mom punish her. I thought Redemption was good enough, but it felt to me like what you were talking about earlier, Jelly, about kind of it rushed and didn't stick the landing. But the premise from this one, I think, is so engaging and intelligent that I'm already bought into the 2 primary characters, and I want to see how they survive the world. And do they fall in love? Does the man who fights her...
it seems like they're already in love. She doesn't want to...
He's in the friend zone.
Yeah, but she's just like, I don't want it to get serious too fast. Otherwise she's like, yeah, I'd fuck the guy. But
Yeah,
I'll tell you what about this book.
That doesn't mean relationship.
Yeah. Well, that's
the truth for it right there.
But just like every other AWA book, I love it right off the bat. because you walk into it like, wait, what the hell's going on here? And then the story kind of lays out. They develop their characters well, but then they just keep developing and developing. So you're into the story, and then you're at issue 4, and I just don't want that to happen with this book.
Yeah,
and it does feel a little bit different. And Christina has been successful in the past in wrapping up short story arcs.
Yeah.
And
I gotta say, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
Okay.
But thank you guys
so
very
much,
much.
David.
And thank you everyone in the comments.
Yeah, everybody follow David on Twitter because as much as he says he likes to make people uncomfortable, while I was reading Venom, he's like, I'm going to swear you to secrecy. And he gave me a little tease and...
I gave you 2 actually for things that are to come.
Oh, did I miss the other one?
There might be another one in your.
Then I'll look at that when we're done.
Just look now.
God damn. But follow David if you are new to David as a creator with Nottingham. Definitely read that first arc. I think you can make it from issue 6 and 7. I don't think you would be too radically confused if issue 6 were the first one, because you know that the sheriff and the merrymen don't like each other. It's just way more high octane. And I think using the history frame in there, it's a good spot to jump in, but I definitely think you should read it. And given all of the little breadcrumbs that David has given us tonight, you know that if you are hooked by issue number 1 of Nottingham, then I'll make the promise and the statement that he'll flinch at that whatever he's got next, you're going to want to buy in at the ground level, because I think it's capable as being as explosive as Nottingham was.
That's reasonable.
Yep, agree.
Yeah, I balk at that, but you know, right? You're correct.
It'll be okay. 70 printings of Obi-Wan Kenobi #1 later.
From your mouth to whatever magic sky being, if it has ears, to its ears.
But yeah, I expect everybody who's in the Discord on April 6th when Nottingham 6 comes out, that we all go wild and make David blush in the Discord.
Oh, absolutely.
But I appreciate your time. I know that we scheduled this one real fast because your life's about to get busy in a good way. So I'm excited to see not just more Nottingham, especially if your promise is that I'll die at issue number 9, but the other things that you can do, other sandboxes that you can play in, because I'm real excited.
Yeah, so there's more from Mad Cave that's not Nottingham, and more from other publishers as well, plus a whole ton more Nottingham this year and next year. So,
yes.
Can I ask one quick question?
You may.
So, to me, it almost is like the sheriff, who is always portrayed as the most evil, most heinous character in almost all of the Robin Hood series. Heck, even on the Disney one, right? The sheriff is always like one of the most evil characters. He almost seems like the good guy in this storyline. Is that what you're trying to? Is that your did you do that on purpose?
I don't know. He's a complicated character, you know.
Very much.
He's done a lot of bad things,
but it seems like for the right reasons.
Yeah, sometimes. But I think there's specifically in this arc, I kind of wanted to explain in a part why history has kind of treated the sheriff so badly, and why there's this narrative of him just being this like awful, ineffectual, greedy scumbag. And hopefully that bears out really well when you get to it. But that was one of my aims with this arc, is to I landed on a reason which makes a whole lot of sense. And the more I delved into it, and this was while writing Volume 1, but I just couldn't fit it into Volume 1. So I've tried to fit it into Volume 2. And the more I delved into the why, the more sense it made to me. Thank you, Tate.
Now I realize why you're writing, because of your restraint. You didn't try to pack too much stuff into that first arc. That's why it resolved so well. No, you had a lot of.
I did.
There was a lot of things going on, but everything was
neat and tidy.
Yeah, it's the restraint.
Yeah.
I get it now.
I try to pare things down so that each issue feels like its own episode, and I guess that kind of. I don't want to write a graphic novel in 5 parts when I'm writing serialized comics, because I feel like you're just, kind of potentially, perpetually, like edging the reader. That's not how I want to write serialized comics. I want people to feel satisfied at the end of each issue as well as at the end.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I think we've got 8 books to prove that you've done that, and we've got more people hooked, so I'm excited to see more people screaming your name throughout the next couple of years of projects that you've got working on. But we appreciate your time so very much. Enjoy your Friday. Take a deep breath before your insanity starts to ramp back up, but I'm excited for these announcements.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thank you all, and lovely to meet you guys as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I'm gonna disappear.
All right. Good night.
Have a great
good
day.
afternoon.
Good weekend.
I like
God,
David.
what a good dude.
Like a real
Humbles all
guy.
get out.
Yeah. And
It's always nice when you meet somebody and they're like, there's nothing worse when you meet, like, I don't want to say a hero, but and they're an asshole.
yeah.
And then you meet somebody you really respect and they're so humble and kind, and you're just like, God, thank you for not being an asshole.
But I think you both clued in at the end, right? The level of restraint that there's enough subplots in Volume 1, and clearly what we've seen in issues 6 and 7, where you're like, oh, this could go off the rails, right? That we could very much have this moment play its way out, but if issue number 1 or arc number 1 proved anything, right, that it's just enough chaos. And I think he, one of the smartest things he said was that's kind of the beauty in playing in a noir kind of space, that you don't expect clean resolution of everything, that you get enough resolution, enough being unsettled
to be satiated.
Yeah.
Like, that was the thing. Like, it was very... You finish the first arc, it's very satisfying. You're like,
dude, and it
was really good.
Ended. It could have ended right there, and I would have been happy. But now I'm stoked and excited for arc number 2.
Yeah. Well, I also like
subscribed and previews and ordered.
I like the approach too of him knowing like 3 or 4 arcs is the ideal world to be content with the story. That as much as 7 issues in, I could go, I want 100 issues of Nottingham, to know that that's how he wants to treat the universe. It's good to know that he doesn't want to milk it, right?
Yeah,
because you've seen
at some point you're going to jump the shark, you know? So I like, again, showing restraint, like knowing that that's kind of how far he wants to go. I really respect that, and I think the story is going to be so much better for that.
Yeah. Well, and it excites me to go back and relook at that part of not just British but European history, where you have that big clash with the Roman Empire before the Treaty of Westphalia, when empires start to die and solo nation states are born.
I love you. Keep talking dirty to me.
You like the Treaty of Westphalia? That's the smartest thing I can say tonight.
Dude, I'm a huge history buff, especially ancient history, and
yeah.
Dude, yeah. Sorry. Whew.
Well, I mean, I like too, how you don't see a lot of medieval stuff that's going on. That he's right, that everything else that I can think of recently has only been like a 4 or 5 issue arc. Like, I think the most recent medieval book that I read was Knights Templar.
Yeah.
And like, you've got Once and Future now, but that book is just so wildly different based on its use of like the medieval lore that is still centered in modern days, plus the outworld portion of it, that it doesn't get to fully sit there. And NWO, he's not in the Amazon.
I'm in Nottingham Forest.
Sherwood Forest.
Sherwood Forest in Nottingham.
All right.
I just want to say one thing about he really did, like, when he chose to do Nottingham and write it, he really did choose a good series to do a 5-part run on. Because, Jelly, like you were saying, right? Most 5-issue runs, it's all build up and it's fucking blow up at the end. It doesn't. So many things don't close out. So many things don't make sense. But because he was writing a story that 90% of the freaking population knew, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that's
movies or whatever. He took that same story and did it just so well.
And I think that's one of the strengths that Mad Cave has as a publisher. That I've read everything but I think one story. I think it's been everything but RV9 that I've read. And just the number of editors that they have that are either creators themselves or have been around long enough that they just have a super well-oiled machine that I have not seen an end that's made me go, boo, fuck this. Like, everything is gone. The same thing, right, if Nottingham would have been done in 5. I'm sad when it's done. I'm left wanting for more, but
that was still closed, right? It was closed. The whole story loop at that point was closed, and if it didn't get optioned for a second, it could have ended right there, and it was still an amazing fucking run.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a good end, and like I felt satisfied, but I wanted more. It's not like I felt unsatisfied and I needed more.
I wanted it, but I didn't need it because I thought it, like you said.
You bums need to pre-order a bunch of A and B covers of Nottingham #6. Because it's real good, and the thing that you might not know, KM, is that all of the covers of the second arc are connecting. All of the A covers are in color. All of the B covers are in black and white. So y'all need to be ready for that. I am not very much a spec person, but I called my shot when Nottingham #1 came out and was like, this is going to be a book, y'all, that the print run will be bigger for this because we saw how many printings they went to, but it's still going to be one of those books that I think will hold value, and you want to talk about something that could be optioned, that this would be...
I think that's one of the things he didn't want to say.
Well, that would be dope.
Yeah, I got a feeling.
Because think about how some of this stuff is very popular. Like, what's the Scottish softcore porn show that my wife watches on
Scottish
Stars?
Highlander.
Like,
Red Shoe Diaries. Outlander.
Outlander. But like these kinds of Elseworld, like turning tails on their head is popular in television right now. So you want to talk about a low rent premise to hook people on. True crime is popular. We've always loved stabby, murder.
Mm-hmm. I'm very happy that they didn't start this with like Nottingham, blah blah blah. That it just went right to 6.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm really happy they did it that way because, especially from a collector's point of view, it keeps the value up on your number ones. Your second, third, fourth prints are still valuable.
I was just about to say that, Dave. David won our Discord Mad Cave mystery box, which is awesome because that means I get to ship it for free because he bought something for me on my Whatnot auction tonight. So
congratulations, David.
I'm all about milking that. So there you go, David. I will have a good taste of old and new Mad Cave things because I bought like 12 copies of everything because I have loved every kind of book that we can pigeonhole certain publishers at being good at one kind of thing. What Mad Cave has shown over the last 18 months to 2 years is that they've got good kinds of stories for everybody, right? That you've got Nottingham, you've got a 3-issue story that tells the tale between like when God leaves Providence. You've got Battle Cats. I mean, you have a superhero story in Villainous. You've got like a young adult Scarface-ish story from Dryfoot. You got wrestling stories. You've got, I mean, just about every kind of book. They did a big horror anthology this last fall that I think that's also good that if you buy, just like we all follow writers or, we all follow specific publishers, I think that's a good entry point to somebody who's like, I don't know a shit ton of comics, right? You can buy into that publisher and get exposed to a variety of different stories. And I think that's a good day.
Yeah.
I want to say one more thing.
Yeah.
So all you guys out there that are speculators, this is what I would do, right? I would probably pre-order. This is what I did. 10 copies of the color, 10 copies of the black and white, and then put it on a subscription for 10 copies each. Because then once all 5 issues are out, you have 10 full complete sets of the black and white that are full connecting covers, and same thing with the other. Like, I'm not trying to sell people on buying it, right?
Yeah.
But having the full set and having the full collection where you can say, look, guys, look at this 6-piece freaking cover set, all connecting covers, freaking gorgeous. That's a selling point.
And I love that
a comic shop. Whew.
Yeah, and I love that you can do it at $4 a book instead of having to chase the lower print run variants. That's an awesome idea. Like, I've been going after all the Devil's Reign connecting covers, but I've missed 2 of them because of just the number of those, and I don't think those look as good conceptually as this does. That when you see the covers for 6, 7, and then 8 is in the back of issue 7, you can see what it's going to look like in the books, which I think is better than you going, I'm going to subscribe to the connecting variant, where you can see what the first cover looks like, and then everything else is like a question mark or a to be announced on Previews World.
Yep.
y'all got any other books you want to talk about? We've been going for almost 2 hours now. You want to?
I didn't read too much this week.
I will show off one more thing that for as much as we love symbiotes, so J1, if you did not pick up the Lives of Wolverine,
I didn't. I got the Deaths.
Deaths is really good, but you should pick up Lives for just this panel.
Okay.
What
the F is that?
It's Nullified Wolverine.
When did that happen? Or is that just happening?
It is happening in one of the timelines. Like, this book starts to explain why we see the variations of Wolverine across the timeline. Aside of, Moira McTaggart can do all that stuff. But I saw that, and I immediately reached out to Soul Twice. Since he does all that Venomized stuff, I was like, you tell me if I got to find a book for you. I want to see his stylings on that panel. Because I think it's just really cool, especially the way that it plays out towards the end of this issue with the Omega Red stuff. So,
if you would have known that was happening, how great would have a Gorkum Demir cover of that been?
Oh, dude.
Would that have been disgustingly good?
Yeah. I thought Punisher this week was pretty good. I got to read it towards the top of my stack because I didn't read Chip Zdarsky's email last week until after I read Woman Without Fear.
I read The Punisher as well. And I read it because I thought I was going to hate it.
I bought it, but I didn't read it.
But I did not. I actually liked it.
Really?
Yeah. It stayed true to the character.
Mm-hmm. And it's not
supposed to explain why he switched.
That does enough.
I'll say not yet.
Okay.
I fell in love with this.
Oh, how good was that? With all the different Punishers?
Yeah, this is like 3 pages in.
Yes.
And it's just like Frank Castle is the Punisher. So
that's to frame that.
Yeah, and that's where I like how it's a nod to who and what Frank Castle is.
Well, I think it was supposed to be there because it's like, look, he's changed many times in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is just another change for him.
Well, it also makes sense in the context of, I haven't read Devil's Reign 5 yet, but seeing how Daredevil Woman Without Fear ended, it sets this book up to make more sense as to why he becomes the leader of the Hand.
Yes. So that should be...
don't go get a butterbeer. We'll end this and then we can chat on the background for a little bit.
Yeah.
Can I get a beer then?
Okay, well, go get a beer real fast, and then we'll see if you won the super chat. Go get your beer.
Back. It don't take long.
But I liked that, and then I read the Age of the Palladian, the We Live White. I have not read the Black yet.
I did not get to the Palladians one. That was one I wanted to read. I read Gwenverse. Did you read that?
Yeah. And
that's a 5-issue. That's a 5-issue, right?
Yeah. And I think it's good enough to see how it sets up issue 2 with...
Well, it's clearly going to be like one of her alter egos every issue.
Yeah, and I think that's fun.
No, it's cool. I liked it.
Especially in the same way that we saw like the Gwenpool book that came out, 8 months ago, where it was that same kind of like flipping everything off. And then I know we both read Primo's.
Yep.
Where I think for all of the questions that we had at the end of issue number 1, you want to talk about somebody who can deliver on all of the answers that I thought that was the perfect follow-up for me.
Yeah, and how many issues is Primos? Is it 6, 5, or
4.
6? Oh, it's 4?
I think it's only 4.
Oh man.
It's down here. Yeah, it's only 4.
Shit. Well, I already want more, and it's not even done yet.
Yeah.
I love the art in this book.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. But yeah, Primos was still really good. We haven't really, so we've only met the one cousin really.
Yeah.
And the third cousin or the second cousin came in right at the very end.
Yeah.
Which she seems cool as hell too.
Well, and we saw what she was capable of in those opening panels of the first one, but I also feel like this is good pacing for a wild universe, that you see why the brothers had their falling out. You saw where the big beefy Aztecs came from.
Yep.
I was texting or in our Discord group. After I read Primos, I immediately told Jelly and Cole and J1 that I'm DMing Al Madrigal to see if we can talk to him, and Jelly was like, "Oh, I'll go full fanboy."
Oh, I absolutely will.
And then as soon as I read Gwenverse, I was like, I am also DMing Tim Seeley because we can talk both writing and art, because goddamn. Is that good?
I want to talk to him about how much fun it is to do this series. It's got to be so cathartic for
good.
Yeah.
Which one's that?
Little Monsters.
Jeff Lemire's new freaking Little Monsters, dude.
Yeah.
That was literally next up on my stack, and then Venom was below it.
The only thing that I didn't get to that I picked up was Captain Carter.
Yeah, I haven't read.
I did not get to Captain Carter either.
I mean, this is how
I don't
much
really
I
like Agent Carter that much, Captain America, but
I don't blame you, but I had to get it because of first appearance. And
I know. I bought 10 of them, so I'm not. You know,
I bought one of them.
Yeah, I'm a nerd.
All right, Jelly, pick a number.
Between what?
Pick a number.
Oh, for spins?
Yeah.
4.
4. Okay, so we got 2 Tates, a mountain of J1s, 5 Davids, 5 Oddballs, 2 Pop-Tarts, and a Shutter Duck. So
in a pear tree.
This is also a Mad Cave mystery box giveaway, but what will make it different, aside from the contents as well, is this 9/8 second printing of number 1 from CBCS will be in the giveaway as well. So I'm shuffling it 4 times. So we got Tate at top, David 1, David 2, J1 3, and J1 4. And I always forget to do this longer spin time. There we go. We'll milk it 50 seconds out of it.
Ooh, I like it.
And Shutter's yes. And a shutter duck in a pear tree. All right. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. And thank you for the financial support tonight. Thank you for checking out Nottingham. Thank you for chatting up and making David blush. He's been one of my favorite people that I've gotten to meet, especially because I can fanboy out to him in the DMs in like 2 sentences, and he's just like, thank you. Wait for the next one. It's like, oh, fuck you, David.
Yeah, you son of a bitch.
All right, here we go.
I completely get that.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. He is. You know who he reminds me of, Jelly?
Who's that?
Gorgum, with his humbleness and.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Right. I mean,
driving his daughter to kindergarten.
And answering the phone and talking to us live. I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I hope I win, but if somebody else does, it's okay.
Oh,
It's going to be Oddball or J1.
When's Travis coming back?
The end of the month.
End of the month. Okay.
Oh, it's going to be J1.
Travis plus
I'm not
19 of his friends.
Yeah. So, in terms of...
Boo, rigged.
Yeah, but I rigged it with my wallet.
That's true.
Okay.
So in terms of other things that we're trying to line up, we have on the last Thursday of the month, so it's either the 30th or the 31st, Travis Gibb is back, and he's going to bring a fuck ton of people because we're going to talk Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, his next Kickstarter anthology. Cthulhu Invades Oz was absolutely amazing. When they were on last time, like, they may have so many people show up that Jelly J1 and I will have to cycle out to make room.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah,
dude,
I'll sit in the background and be like, can I pop in on occasion?
Because as I think there were like 50 people involved because each story had a creative team of 5 or 6 and went through. So it was now that's what I call Indie Comics Greatest Hits. Jay Sandlin and I are working on a date. He has written a bunch of stuff that he did Jin Hunter for Black Box. He did Hellfighter Quinn and Over the Ropes for Mad Cave. He's got a young adult novel coming, or young adult graphic novel coming out through Maverick, which is Mad Cave's YA imprint. It's called World Class, and it's a over-the-top soccer book. The first 30 pages hooked me. And I was mad that was the first time that they didn't give me all of the book at once, that they're teasing you to get you to read it. But if you all in the chat or watching on the rewind can think of some people that you would like us to chat with, don't shoot for the moon. You got to look at the beard party that's going on and say, who could these assholes reasonably get to talk to?
Yeah.
We need to stick to the beard theme because that worked really well.
Yeah.
Who else is bearded? That's really what we need to try and stay with.
Well, I think Stoney Williams is on Wonderland, so he has not just a ginger beard, but he also is from Oklahoma. So
really,
yeah,
it's a match made in heaven.
Where does he live?
I don't feel like we should dox him here.
Yeah. I got to think of the lake that we went to with the kids over the summer that was...
in his area.
Yeah. Because I think it was like an hour away from both of you. But maybe in 2 diagonal vectors, so you might be an hour away from each other in your Oklahoma triangle. But...
fair enough.
All right, we're all old. We're all yawning. We're going to drink a beer and shoot the shit in the background. But everybody in the chat tonight, everybody who super chatted, thank you so very much. As you can all hear that we're still glowing from being able to talk to David. Obviously, we were very appreciative of his time. And now I'll see if I can get him to play any of the shitty Discord games that I'm addicted to with me, where now I'll try and battle him in Pokemeow and fight him in Epic RPG.
Y'all do get in on that. I won't lie. I get the dings all day long.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it'll be like, and David Hazan has left the Discord. And it's like,
yeah,
I
exactly.
just want to poke you and bite you with a vampire and Mafia Wars fight you. It's Facebook all over again. But that's where we're at. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm running in a circle now until I can click on this. So as always, y'all, thanks for stopping by. And have a good one.